today we're going to talk about how these girls were discovered, amongst many other things. So, do you girls want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Alexandra Armstrong, and I've been with the agency for 5 years.
I'm Ava Simon, and I've been with the agency for a month.
I'm Allie Gooch, and I've been with the agency for 5 years.
I'm Grace Koss, and I've been with the agency for a year.
I'm Miranda Sullivan, and I've been with the agency for 2 years.
I'm Mad Manning, and I've been with the agency for 5 years.
So, Mad, why don't you first start out telling us how you were scouted?
So I was about 13 years old when my sister Claire was modeling for a while, and she was discovered within like a mall. She just passed by a random runway thing happening within the mall, and basically through her, Terri approached my mom like after school different times, just like a lot to say like, I really want to sign your daughter, even though she is like still younger, like we can still get her started on things and getting used to things. So when I was about 13 years old, I came in and I signed with the agency, and I didn't really work a lot until I was about 15 because I had braces and I had glasses. So I couldn't really do anything, but I could get like the bases down. Even I had like some photo shoots where I would just like keep my mouth closed because I had braces.
Which is hard to do, like to have like a relaxed mouth.
Definitely.
While there's braces underneath there.
But it was still good to do that because I think that helped me learn. Like I really had no idea what I was doing. But then through that, then I got my first job when I was 15. I did Louis Vuitton, and I went to Paris, and it was just a whole crazy whirlwind of things, and I'm really glad that I did it so I could have those experiences.
For sure. And what about you, Alex?
So, just like Matt here, I guess, I was 13 as well. I had just suffered from a TBI, which is medical jargon for a really bad concussion from sports.
What sport did you get a concussion in?
So I was, like, ironically, the sport I got a concussion was being a soccer goalie, but I've done martial arts since I was 2 years old, so it was bad luck, basically. So I've always been pretty active, but I couldn't do any physical activity or basically anything that was physically demanding. So I remember just kind of feeling blah. And I was walking around Neiman Marcus one day, and the store director came up to me and just kind of started asking me all these questions, like, have you modeled? Like, have you ever considered it? Do you have an agency? And I remember thinking, like, is this guy for real? Like, me? Like, what are you talking about? And so he recommended the agency.
Super grateful to
Yeah, me too. So I reached out, and I remember coming in and being super nervous and just like not knowing what I was doing, but the environment was just so relaxed that I just felt at home with you guys. So now we're here, and yeah.
Nice. And before this, we were just talking about a photo shoot that you guys did together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's touch on that too.
So I don't even know how old we were when we did that.
Did you still have braces at the time?
I don't remember. I don't think.
I think she
Yes,
did.
I did.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get my braces up until like high school or something. Like I had them for a while. Like I feel like I didn't, but I did.
Yeah.
I
And
got
so-
mine right off before
really?
you, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did a photo shoot with Hillary.
Yeah.
And it was like you were saying, like the theme was kind of like more like baby doll type thing,
cool.
not like
It was
in
really
a weird way, but just like more like younger, I guess, like to like emphasize that, and like we were supposed to be like sisters in it, and
It was really ethereal too. It had a nice vibe to it.
And it was really cool because that was one of the first shoots that I did like with someone that like I kind of knew. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but it like helped me like be more comfortable with it and like kind of learn how to shoot with someone else, because it's easier to shoot just like singles, but when you're with someone else, you kind of have to like acknowledge the poses that they're doing and
You have to work
things
with
that
their
they're at.
energy,
Yeah,
too.
you have to make it like dynamic for sure.
That's awesome. Oh, cool. And what has been your favorite experience in the business so far? Like just travel, or what would you say? I'll pose the question to both of you.
Okay, well mine was probably my Calvin campaign, because that was one of those things that when I first started modeling was like, I always said like, that's what I want to do. Like you could probably go back to the packet of things that I wrote when I first signed, and it would say Calvin Klein. Like, and so that was definitely one of the coolest things to have, and like to hear that, to get that phone call that I had that, and it ended up being in Times Square and like all these cool places. And so I would definitely say that is probably one of my top ones that I'm proud of.
I remember being in New York and seeing you. I think I said you probably.
You did. You
Yeah.
sent me a link, and I think I still have it on my phone somewhere, and like, and that's crazy to me. I wish I could have like been there and seen it. Like that's insane. But that was definitely my top.
I think mine was like the second day I got to New York for the first time. I went on this casting. It was super last minute, and I walk in and they're actually in the middle of a shoot, and he was like super to the point. He was like, all right, I want you to show me just this like boyish look. And I was like, I can do that. Like I got this. So I like posed, and then I get a call about like 2 hours later, and they're like, well, okay, you just booked this Italian magazine. You have like a 6-page spread, and I was like, this is what dreams are made of. Like, come on. So I was super excited. It was actually this really cool shoot. It was for Flair Italia, and it was just me playing video games, and it was super nice because I just got to lay there and be like, yeah. It was really awesome. I enjoyed that. I think that was kind of a life-changing moment too. That just feeling so surreal too.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That was a beautiful spread, by the way.
Thank you.
It's kind of like a work hard, like play hard at the same time.
Exactly.
And good thing that you can pull off the like, you know, on the spot kind of look because
Yeah.
you know, that takes a certain level of like comfort to be able to just go there right away.
Yes, it was certainly an experience because I felt bad at first because I felt like I was taking over this other model's photo shoot, but I mean it worked out well for me, so I'm pretty happy.
And that's not like anything that you should be ashamed of.
That's
to say,
what I
like, you know, like 'cause it's one of those things that you have to realize that it's them that they're like weeding through, and you kind of deal with that a lot when you're in like model apartments with other girls not getting jobs or something like that. It's never anything to be ashamed of. I think everyone kind of has an understanding of that like it's not who they book or who they choose, and it's not anyone's fault. It's not like anything against you. It's really just specifically maybe it's just the look they're looking for.
Totally.
Like and it's not anything to be worried about.
For sure, and I think it's important for girls to know that too, the guys as well that are modeling, that
Definitely.
sometimes they just want a brunette and it's not the booking for you, and you know, you move on to the next. So.
That's something too I've really learned is you can't compare yourself to others because you have no idea what people are looking for.
Yeah.
Like one thing that you may feel self-conscious about is what could make you the next big thing. So you just have to embrace every bit of you.
Yeah, definitely. Like you could be so ashamed of like some part of your face, like your eyebrows or your ears or something weird like that, and then a designer could see you and be like, her, like definitely, like, and so you never know when they're gonna just pick you out of a crowd, and you're gonna get the opportunity to do something cool like that. And I always tell people, like I have a lot of friends that have like tried to sign or maybe even have signed with the agency, and they're saying like, oh, what do I do, what do I wear, and like all these things, and I'll give them the basics, but truly with modeling, it's one of those things you kind of have to experience to learn. And I always tell people like, you have to worry about it less than you think you do. Like, it's not that you shouldn't eat well and like dress well and be polite and things like that. It's more just that when you're shooting, you don't have to think so much about your pose. You can be more free spirit, and like, yeah, maybe you end up looking a little weird sometimes, and like, but sometimes that's what people love. So I don't know, it's one of those things you really have to experience to learn about it, for sure.
Definitely. And what other advice would you give, like going back to when you first started, what do you wish you would have known then? I mean, is that not to take anything personally, or is it something else?
I mean, for me, it's stop being so self-conscious about yourself. Like, because you see these magazines and you see these photos of these beautiful women, and you think to yourself, like, that's what I need to be. That's the level of my hair needs to look like that, my face needs to look like that. I always need to be this like goddess. Like, I mean, sure, if you want to, go for it, but at the same time, be yourself, because if the more genuine you are to yourself, the more likely are you to succeed in this industry.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one of the things, and I don't even mean this in like a wrong way, it's more just don't take things so personally. Because a lot of times when you're doing a job, there's so many different factors that go into it. There's hair, there's makeup, there's photographer, there's the editor, there's a million things, and everyone is stressed out trying to make the perfect picture. So if someone kind of ends up being a little bit like a wall when they're talking to you or when they're fixing your clothes or something like that, don't take it as personally, you know, because they're not doing that because they think, I don't want to talk to this girl, I don't want to know this girl. They're doing it because they have so many things, so many important things to focus on within the shoot or within the show, that it's really you almost don't notice when you don't stop and take a second to like have a conversation, because you feel like you don't even have the time. And I think with my first show that I did, that was one of the things that was super weird to me, that like everyone was so busy and everything was moving so fast, and it was kind of weird. But after the first show that I did, like after everything was kind of like the water settled and it was fine, like at the after party, a lot of like the people that were kind of uptight and like running past me and like doing all these things, they ended up like loosening up because it was all done. And I really like got to see that like they're just stressed, like they have a lot on their plate just as much as you do, so it's kind of, if they're not stopping to talk, it's not anything you have to worry about.
It's
more just
it's good
their
that
own
you learned
personal-
that early on, because
Yeah.
in a lot of cases it just takes time to step back and look at the big picture, like all of the preparation that's gone into things before, and even the breakdown after.
Yeah, definitely. And when you can see it too, when you finally like leave the show or something and you Google it and you go and look at it, and you, after seeing all the work that went into it, it's like you can appreciate it 10 times more.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's so cool.
And what's your favorite, I mean, would you guys say you have a favorite kind of division, or runway or print, or is there something you prefer, one over the other?
I think I prefer maybe print. Runway's a whole other thing, you know. It's really fast paced. There's a lot going on.
There's a
Intensity.
lot of energy.
Definitely intense. There's a lot of other models involved. There's just so much going on, and it's worth it at the end when you see the show and you see the result of it. But sometimes I feel like I like print more just because I end up seeing it more, kind of like with shows. You kind of have to look it up, or you have to be involved within the industry to really want to go and look at those. But with print, that ends up in like magazines or cool things, like the Calvin thing I did like ended up as a Snapchat ad, and people used to like screenshot it, and it's just like, it's fun to see random people like being like, I saw you here, and like that's more exciting to me, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I'm more of a fan of doing print or editorial, and I really like doing stuff that kind of like grab the attention of the reader, or the looker. It's a weird word. Like recently I got to dress up as a Barbie. That was super cool. I just like kind of doing something that's out of the box and grabbing the attention of someone who may not necessarily appreciate photos. They take a second and be like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Thanks so much for watching our video.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content.
Bye.
I've always been friends with Terry's daughter. We've always played soccer together growing up.